Good morning, everyone. I'm Sudeepthi Dondapati. I'm here today with you to share my presentation or to share my thoughts and information about this concept, one of the essential concepts in the English language. And these are definitely very useful and and whatnot. How can I really bring you the real importance and see the significance of this topic? So I cannot unfold everything right before you. But then before I go into the topic, I want to say that the title of my topic is Articles as Vehicles of Communications. Articles as vehicles of communication. So, what are these vehicles actually? Vehicles, articles, vehicles. So, these are different, or these are the same, or are they different? Yes, you are right. They are same, but here we are not talking about the similarities and dissimilarities of the words that are in the title, but we are trying to look at the relationship, the meaning of this two, the kind of relationship, the link or the relation or the relativity of these two words. So you must be wondering, what is this vehicle and what are these vehicles? Definitely in your English, in English, when we speak, there are so many concepts like adverbs, adjectives, conjunctions, grammar, vocabulary. Like these all will be again part of these parts of speech: grammar, vocabulary, and different parts of speech. And then again, all these tenses, whereas these verbs, and so many kind of like so many concepts here. So you must be wondering, then what are these articles? And articles are very easy, and for some, they trouble a lot. So though they're very slim and very skinny, but still they trouble a lot. They are very. It's not to do with the number of words or the number of letters. It's like though there are like a and these are like one or two letter word or three letter word, but the function is very effective. So these are like, if communication is a big transport vehicle, or is a big, it is something that is your destination, like to be able to communicate, right? So to be able to communicate is your destination, whereas these articles will be your vehicles. So with this help of this vehicle or vehicles, you can reach your destination, that is communication. So these will act as vehicles. Okay, so these will act as definitely very important ingredients, or important kind of like definitely, and they are important vehicles of communication. So I now want to convince you, like saying that articles as vehicles of communication is an important topic. So if these vehicles are not there, definitely your communication will fall, and it will be very handicapped. So and will be very challenged. So these vehicles are integral. You remove articles, you cannot communicate. Like, let me give you an example. Like, there's a cat. There's cat. So am I talking about cats or cat? One single cat? So how do I know? Until and unless I use there are cats, or the cats in that room, or I say there's a cat. There's a cat. So one cat. Or I say the cats in that particular. So am I talking about that particular cat, or am I talking about one single cat? One single cat. Or I am not sure. So if I remove these articles, so these will not bridge the meaning, and as a result, so they cannot take you through your communication. That is why these will be vehicles. Definitely you have to use it a and the, and there you can see a few, only two categories, but there is one more category, that is definite and indefinite, and another category is like zero article. So that, though that is not there, and you should be able to know where to use where to use indefinite a or an, where to use the different articles like the, and where to use zero articles, that is no articles. So you go somewhere, you journey into wilderness or in your, any place. But these vehicles are important. So these vehicles are important, and articles act as vehicles of communication. Right? Next. So a and the. A and the are articles. Now, I do not want you to understand the stereotype definition, but I want you to understand these articles in context. I want you to understand these articles in context, then definitely you'll be able to master them. An article is a determiner. We saw like determiners, they determine something, right? Or they determine something. So it signals the coming of a noun. It signals the coming of a noun. Let me give you an example. This is a book. This is a book. You are talking about this noun. And then when you're talking about this noun, are you talking about a book or books? You cannot say remove this vehicle, that you cannot remove this one, like this is book. No, you don't say. So how many books? This is a book, or it is indefinite, or you are not specifying. This is a book. You are not specifying. And when you even to count them, whether it is singular or plural, you use these indefinite articles. Also, when you are specifying or when you are not specifying, you use either definite or indefinite articles. This is milk. The third category I told you, that is like a zero article. This is a milk, you don't say generally. These are something like you cannot perceive it physically, right? Like these in no particular state. So you cannot count it, like how many milks, you don't count it, one milk. Whereas you can count it an egg, alright, like an egg, 2 eggs, 3 eggs. But whereas milk is uncountable. So as a result, you don't use any definite or indefinite article. You say this is milk. Next, that's an egg. That's an egg. So you can count it, and it is indefinite. You're not specifying. So that's an egg. Right? So a and the. Okay. These three are articles. A, and are indefinite. That is, you are not specifying. They're indefinite. They're not particular. But whereas definite article, you are particularly doing that. So that is the something. The something. Next. So what are categories of articles? There are indefinite and definite. Indefinite and definite articles. These are again quantitative, and some are not quantitative. So indefinite articles definitely will help you understand how you can how can you mention without specifying it without any certainty. So there are two kinds like definite and indefinite article, right? And whereas quantitative articles are there, again, variety of this article. Quantitative, so will quantify the number. Like how do you quantify something? You say some or any. So in terms of quantity, quantifying, they are nothing but quantitative articles. Indefinite uncountable nouns, plural. Indefinite countable nouns usually do not take an article. So uncountable nouns, like we mentioned, we saw this milk. You don't count. We don't count, right? So you cannot say this is a milk. So definitely that is okay. That's an uncountable noun, right? Now, when I say that, okay, articles will be vehicles of communications. What do you do? Using appropriate articles in your placements. Like, what do you do? So, what is the role in what is the role in your career, or especially when you are preparing or when you are getting ready for these placements? Or so this is for your skill enhancement. So if you will be placed in good companies, if your communication is up to the mark. So if your communication should be up to the mark, or is to be up to the mark, definitely you should be able to use these articles as which are vehicles of communications. So adverbs, adjectives, all these are important vehicles. These are important vehicles of communication, right? So they are now. Let me say, move on to say these are used with nouns, but all nouns are used with. Not all are used with articles. Not all are used with articles. See, it requires to know which noun requires an article, which doesn't. Let me show. She bought milk. You don't say or the milk. He bought her toys. You don't say the toys, right? These usually take a determiner. So you can say determiner, like you say, we saw to that they will determine some quantity, like some or any. So that is why you say any or some. She bought some milk. She didn't buy any milk. She bought some toys, or he bought some toys. He didn't buy any toys. So you can use these determiners to show or to indicate a certain quantity, but you don't use this indefinite or definite article. And you can use the definite article when you are very particular and specifying. So, like for example, let me give you this example. Like the milk which you bought from him is not good. So when you are specifying in particular, any particular context, you can use this, the definite article. You can use this definite article. Next, since some and any are used as substitutes for articles, they may be called quantitative, as we have just discussed. Like these are determiners. So you determine them, like and you quantify them. And so that is why they are called as quantitative articles, like articles and number system. Now let me take you through another slide. This shows, we will understand how you can use these articles in relation to the number of the things or the objects, or that you're using pertaining to the use of nouns or adverbs. Like the use of articles is linked to the number system of nouns. Right, it is linked with the number system. So the article a, or any article you want to use, a and the, are linked up with the number system. For example, this is a pen. You don't say, if that is singular, you say a pen, or if it is plural, there are pens. But you don't say, this is a pens. You don't say this is a pens, but you say this is a pen. So pen is singular and you use an indefinite article a. And if it is singular, you say that's an apple. That's not. So you don't say apples. That's an apple. You say that's an apple. The is not governed by the number system. The is not governed by the number system. So it can be used with singular nouns and plural nouns. For example, the is not governed by, indefinite article a or an will go with the number system. But when you are using the definite article the, you can use the context and see the context. Like you say, look at the birds in the tree, or in that particular house, or in that particular cage. But you say, look at the birds. You can look at the birds. So you don't look at the birds. It is not governed by the number system. Now we saw this number system, how it is linked up with articles. And now we will see this gender system and how articles are linked with. Next, in a few languages, the forms of articles are adjectives which are determined by the gender of this noun. So, for example, like the gender is in other languages, it is definitely they are determined by the use of gender. But in English you don't have to follow. Like for example, he's an actor, indefinite article and singular. She's an actress. Oh, please lend me an umbrella. So it is nothing. You don't have to link up this gender with the use of definite or indefinite article. Like, let me talk about these indefinite articles and this position of the indefinite article. So the position of this indefinite, how you can really position, right? An is an article, right? So it belongs to this class of determiners. You know about this, like you quantify them. So as a determiner, you can see some kind of like a good book. A good book. You're talking about the adjective, like you're talking about the quality of something, right? So class of determiners, it will help you understand the position of adjectives. An intelligent girl, you say. Okay, so an is placed before predeterminers like any, much, rather, quite. Example, what a man he is, you can say. Okay, not what man, not what man. Many a man was injured, not a many man. He gave such a talk that everybody fell asleep. Okay, not such a talk. She's quite a beauty, not a quiet beauty. Right? See this difference. Now, an is placed after adjectives when they are pre-modified. An is placed after adjectives when they are pre-modified by as, to, how. For example, how fine a place it is. How fine a place it is. So it is placed, a or an indefinite articles are placed after adjectives when they are pre-modified. See, for example, like how fine a place it is. How quiet, see how fine it is. It's too. So when you use these adjectives, like pre-modified adjectives, so definitely these articles a or an can be used. So it's too, and it's too absurd an answer, right? You place these adjectives like here, like you placed it here, right? Now it's like usage on the basis of sound. So articles usage on the basis of sound. So how do you understand this concept? So depending upon the sound, do you really determine these articles? Yes, determining upon the sound you decide. So depending upon the sound. So what are they? For example, definite article. You see, consonants are there, right? In vowels, consonants are there and vowels are there. So in vowel sounds, you know, right? A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. So A, E, I, O, U. So these 5 sounds are different, and articles are used vowel sounds for these, and indefinite articles will be used. And for any consonant sound, p, b, g, t, g. See, for all these consonant sounds, you can use an indefinite article. Whereas for these vowel sounds like A, E, I, O, U. These are vowel sounds. A, E, I, O, U. For these vowel sounds, you can definitely use this in indefinite article, an. Right? So, a will go with the consonant sound. Like a pen. P is a consonant sound. So you use a pen. B is a consonant sound. So you use a for a book. G is a consonant sound, a gun. Whereas a dog, a fan. Okay, so whereas these are some exceptions like university, European. So why these are exceptions? For example, see, words beginning with U have an initial sound, Y sound. University, E sound. It's not university, though the spelling is UNI, but the sound is year, university. European, it's not European, but it's a European. So for that, these for vowels we discussed, that A, E, I, O, U, for they will take vowels like for indefinite article, an, right? An, ant, an apple. Okay, and I. So whereas these vowels like university and European, these are not vowel sounds, but they have these different sounds like a year sound. Right, so year sound. So that is why they don't take an but take a. So words beginning with u or eu have an initial y sound. So they take like a unit, year sound, a unit, and utensil, ooh, okay, a utensil, ooh, a union, union, and utopia, okay, eunuch, year sound, eulogy, you sound, euphemism, right? So these words will take this indefinite article but not an, right? These words like oh pronounced like v. See, you know this sound right? It is a consonant sound. So for such words like one-eyed, one-eyed man, one dripping note, one act play, one dare. So they don't have a oo or o, but they have v sound. So they take an indefinite article not ams. Now, let's come back to these vowels. An is used before a word beginning with a vowel sound. These vowel sounds like an apple, egg, right? Inkpot, hour, and honor, and air. So these have a sound, okay? So an air. So they take indefinite article but not definite article, right? And so whereas mute has this, for example, silent, right? Silent or mute. See, some words H, for example, these what are mute here and plus a mute. For example, honor, H is mute there. HOUR, it's not hour, it's hour. So many times we say honor, it's a great honor. It's not a great honor, but it's a great honor. So it will, it's an honor. So in the sound, it is not her, but it is a. So the words beginning with these words, with the sounds, whereas mute words exist, they don't take but an. Like example, an heir, an honest person, an hour ago, an honorary. So kind of degree respect. He's an honest man. He's an honest man. He said, we had an hour's rest. An honest person. See, these H, honest, H is silent there. Hour, H is silent there. Honor, H is silent there. HO and honorary, H is silent there. So all these muted sounds will take this indefinite article and. Whereas these words which have H but not, they are not mute or silent words. So you can say hotel. So her sound is there and you can use this indefinite article whereas here the words are not her, if the sounds are not her, so that is why you take the sound is mute, silent there, so it is a, honest, you take an indefinite article and. So this is a hotel, a historical, a habitual action, a humble person. This is a historical novel. This is a habitual, he's a habitual drunkard. This is a humble beginning. So this and is not accepted here because H is not silent. And sorry, H is not silent here and H is pronounced as her only. Right? So H is pronounced in these words. Now, except again, and can be used for different acronyms and abbreviations like for example, like you use several abbreviations, right? And is used before acronyms like beginning with f, h, l, n, all these consonants, and because each these consonants have as okay, all these have an initial sound plus l. For example, see, he's an f, a sound. See the first one, f, a. this is an H, her, HMT, L, okay, MP, M sound. See M. This is he's an N of NCC officer. This is an XL. So these will take again indefinite article an, because though they have F, H, LLB, they are not pronounced by their. These are all consonant sounds. What are they? F. For these are not sounds though, but these are letters. So F is not a sound. The letter F is not a sound, but F is the sound here. But F letter is not a sound. So that is why you should not go by the letter, but you should go by the sound. And that is why, and whenever you find A, F, L, all these, you have to use this indefinite article an, right? And plus number. So for example, you use indefinite article an with with certain numbers, like an is used before a number beginning with a vowel sound. Like this is an 18 player team. This is an 80-year-old man. This is a 5-year-old child. So you can understand, you can use this indefinite article and when you are using this number system, especially with A, 18, 5, I, all these are vowel sounds. 18. Why you have to use this and with 18-year-old, 80-year-old, 5? Because these are numbers, but the sound have vowel sounds. So you know vowel sounds: A, E, I, O, U. So either of these vowel sounds or any of these vowel sounds should fall in these 5 vowels, like A, E, I, O, U. So 18 play 18. So A is a vowel. A, 80-year-old is a vowel. 5, it's not F, but I, a diphthong, I. Okay, so 5-year-old. So that is why it 5-year, but the exception is 5. Okay, so but it's not an 5-year, because 5, this is a 5-year. So the rule is, the exception is standard here. So it is an 18, a. So you take this indefinite article, whereas this is a 5 is an exception. Next, definite articles. So again, you can use it. A and, indefinite, right? They're used before indefinite. So singular and countable nouns mentioned for the first time. Like this is a pen, right? Countable, a pen. This is a pencil. This is an apple. There is an orange. So you take A. Whereas for these vowel sounds, apple, or these are vowel, that's where you take indefinite. Pencil is a consonant sound, you take a. Next, the is used before a definite noun. Okay, it is mentioned again. So it refers to, this is called anaphoric function. So what is this? Let me explain you. Example. There is an old palace. People believe that the palace was built 500 years ago. So that means when it refers back to a noun, it is already, it takes the. So the is used before a definite noun when it is mentioned again. So for example, there's an old palace. People believe the palace. You are talking about this old palace. And again, you don't use, there is an old palace. Okay, this palace, people believe that there is, you started with there, right? And you can continue, by now you might have set the context, like there's an old palace, you're talking about some old palace, and people believe that. Now they understood which palace you're talking about. You're talking about one palace. Now people understood. Now people will understand if you use this the palace. That means which you've already started saying about this palace, and now it's very clear. The palace which you have, which was built 500 years ago, this is called anaphoric. You begin about something, and when you're continuing it, by now you already set the context, thinking that this is the one which you're speaking. So when you're referring back to the one which you have talked, is something called anaphoric function. See, the like is used before a singular countable noun. For example, the, for example, the or like a and is used before count. For example, see, generic, some generic or classify function like the camel is the ship of the message. For example, there are some generic functions like the camel is a ship. That means you're not talking about that particular camel, but in general this camel signifies it is a ship. That means it carries, okay, it is the ship of the desert. The lion is a wild animal, so it is generic, so you can use the definite article the. Whereas like a and you is it's just like it is used before countable nouns. But exceptions are there. Like man and mankind will not take, or men and women will not take a or an, because they are general and they are universal. They don't take the, so neutral. So we understood that there is another category like definite article, indefinite article, and zero article. So here zero article is there. Man is mortal. You don't say the man is mortal. Mankind is searching for meaning, right? So one should search for that purpose, whereby we live, or what is the meaning of our life, and it is true. So man is searching for meaning. So you don't say the mankind or mankind is, you just say mankind is searching for meaning. The is used before adjectives, right, or participles to represent a class. See, the rich, the class, when you're representing the class, you can use the rich. The poor, you're representing, the rich represents all the rich people. All the rich people that you're referring to, all rich people, or all poor people, all dead people. So the dead cannot come again. The dying will not come again. So you are representing whole. So in that context, you can use the definite article. The rich are not necessarily happy. Okay, the blind deserve our sympathy. So you can represent by using the white, yellow, or of an egg. So that is universal, single, and so you use the evil, the good, the beautiful, general, and universal. So universal, one and only. General in the sense it does not everywhere, but it is universal. You are signifying as a whole. The is used before a noun considered. It's an extraordinary adjective. For example, whenever you are using in an extraordinary context, like you want to talk about it as exceptional in a superlative degree, you can use the best. She is the most beautiful girl. So whenever you are talking about the exceptions or the best of everything, so you can use superlatives, and when you use superlatives, you can use the definite article the. She is the bride for him. She is, particularly you're saying, very particularly, specifically you're saying, who is the bride? Oh, she is the bride. When the definite article is used, you cannot say some girl. You cannot randomly say some girl, but you are saying the girl, she is the bride. This is the place for our picnic. He is the authority on the subject. So one and only. The is used before a noun whose identity is common knowledge. It denotes a person's rank or profession. So the is used before a noun. So it denotes a person's title, rank, or quality. Right? So even when that depending upon like rank or profession, so along with this you can use the definite article the president, right? The prime minister, the principal of the college you are talking. So you use a noun whose identity is common knowledge. Common knowledge means if you have a principal, you know the principal. He's the only principal. So you can use the definite article when you're referring to common knowledge. And you have one prime minister, not many prime ministers. And that prime minister is common to all. So he is the prime minister. One president, and it is common knowledge, and you say the president. The is also used before common nouns, like for example, referring to place or person. The police station, the post office, the station. Okay, common place, whatever you are referring to, the common knowledge or something. The police station, the post office, the radio. Right? Would you close the gate, please? Because that is the gate that exists there. In that context, you can use the. That's the only gate. She's listening to the radio. Always radio take the. She's listening to the radio. The use of the before television is optional. The use of the before television is optional. What's on the television now? What's on television? This is optional. You can see either you can omit or use. The is used before common nouns like before musical instrument. She's playing the violin, right? She's playing this guitar. She's playing the sitar or whatever. So you can use the before musical instruments. Also, the before a noun denoting a unit of measure, like we buy petrol by the liter, unit of measurement, by the liter. They sell bananas by the dozen. They're paid wages by the hour, right? It is used. Now, before preposition or prepositional phrase, you can use like the boy with long hair. So you are referring to that particular boy. The woman in black. She's the only woman in black. So when you are using a preposition or a prepositional phrase, you can use the boy with preposition or prepositional phrase. The is used before adjectives and superlative, as we discussed. The best book, the most beautiful. When in comparison, you can say, you don't say she is the tallest of the two girls, but in comparison, you say she is the taller of the two girls. The is used before ordinal numbers, like the first bride, the only hope we have, on one and only. And also, the is used before some mountains and hills, and what are they? The Himalayas, the Khasi Hills, the Vindhyas. But the is not used before these following mountains. Like you don't say the Everest, the Kailas, the Kanchenjunga. You don't say the, you omit. And again, you can use the before the group of islands, like the Andamans, the West Indies, the Maldives. The is not used before individual islands like the Sri Lanka, the Malta. Only exceptions, only a few. The is used before names of gulfs, canals, seas, oceans. The is used before this, like the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian Ocean. Again, before oceans and seas you can use. Also before the rivers, like before the following rivers. The Ganga, the Thames, the Amazon. Okay, the Nile, the Mississippi, the Brahmaputra. You can use them. Before the states like the USA, the Netherlands, Sudan, all this. And also before the holy books, the Bible, the Gita, the Quran. And before some names of the following newspapers, the Hindustan, the Hindu newspaper, Hindu newspaper, the Times of India, the Washington Post. You can use the definite article. Before any cardinal directions like the east, the west. Before any interventions like inventions also like microscope, telescope. Before all these things. Before the nouns, cathedral, cinema. She's going to the zoo. She's going to the cinema. Should not omit. The is used before the parts of one's body, like the stone hit him on the shoulder when you are referring to one's part of that person. The trouser you bought fits you well. I held him by the tie collar when you are referring to one's body's articles of use. So now let's discuss this third category, omission, zero articles. So article before proper nouns, not before the Sudeepthi. You don't say until Sudeepthi exists, only she's the only one person. But you can say the Shakespeare, the Kalidasa, only one unique, but not before all proper nouns. Not names of people, not names of proper nouns, not names of continents, not names of days, not before the names of languages. Example, you just say this is Seema, not the Seema. We live in Nagpur, not the Nagpur. So we omit here. We are learning English. We are not learning the English now. So no article before any family relations also. The father, the daddy, the mother. No, you don't say father. Father is at home. Mother is out. So you omit article. The is used before the names of a country, like, for example, these are exceptions again. The United Kingdom, the Indian Union, the United States. Again, no article before. Uncountable. She lacks confidence. She sells milk. Bees gather honey, but dogs bark at night. So it is the is used before a plural noun only when it is made definite. The apples that are on the tree are ripe. See, the apples that are on the, very particularly you are referring to those apples only. That is why you can use the definite article the. The soldiers of this battalion are well trained. So with these, I complete my presentation or my video, saying that these are the rules you have to remember. These are very useful, and hence you can understand these will be definitely, if you use articles properly, you will be able to use these articles as vehicles of your communication, and these will be very useful vehicles for your communication. Hope you use all these articles and will certainly benefit by having or by communicating very effectively in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.